The tech conference in San Francisco had drained Elon Musk dry. He navigated the throngs of admirers and investors with a practiced smile, but his mind was elsewhere. He longed for a moment of peace, a respite from the constant barrage of questions and demands. Slipping away unnoticed, he ducked into a small, unassuming cafe a few blocks away. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee was a welcome balm, and he chose a quiet corner table, hoping to blend into the background. As he sipped his coffee, his gaze drifted to an elderly woman in a simple cleaning uniform, her hands worn and calloused. She moved with a quiet efficiency, wiping down the tables with a practiced rhythm. Something about the way she twisted her wrist as she wiped the surface triggered a memory, a long dormant echo from his childhood. He studied her more closely, a flicker of recognition igniting in his mind. No, it couldn't be, he murmured to himself, dismissing the thought as mere coincidence. Yet, the feeling persisted, a nagging sense of familiarity that he couldn't shake. He rose from his chair, his heart pounding with a mixture of hope and trepidation. Taking a tentative step towards her, he whispered, "Maribel." The woman stopped mid-wipe, her head snapping up. Her eyes, once bright and full of life, were now clouded with age and weariness, but the spark of recognition was undeniable. She stared at him, her face a mask of disbelief. "Ellie? Is that really you?" The sound of the old nickname sent a wave of emotion crashing over Elon. He rushed forward, enveloping her in a hug. It was her, Maribel Vega, the woman who had been more of a mother to him than his own mother. He had not seen her in decades, and yet, the years melted away as if no time had passed. "Maribel, what are you doing here?" "What happened?" he asked, his voice thick with emotion. Maribel pulled back, her eyes searching his. "Ellie, you've become a very important man. What are you doing in a place like this?" Elon ignored her question, his concern growing. "I need to know what happened. Why are you working here, doing this kind of work at your age?" Maribel sighed, a weary expression crossing her face. "Life happens, Ellie. Sometimes, things don't go as planned." As they talked, Elon learned that Maribel was working two grueling jobs, cleaning offices and cafes to make ends meet. At 85 years old, she was still struggling to survive, her body bearing the scars of decades of hard labor. He was horrified, filled with guilt and a burning desire to help. But more than that, he needed to understand how she had ended up in this situation. He vowed to uncover the truth, no matter what it took. Driven by a sense of urgency and guilt, Elon hired a private investigator to delve into Maribel's past. He needed to know what had led her from their privileged life in South Africa to scrubbing floors in a San Francisco cafe. The investigator, a seasoned professional named Sarah, promised to leave no stone unturned. Days turned into weeks as Sarah followed a trail of fragmented records and faded memories. She discovered that Maribel had left South Africa abruptly in 1985, obtaining an emergency visa under mysterious circumstances. For the next 40 years, she had worked tirelessly, taking on any job she could find: housekeeping, office cleaning, elder care, a relentless cycle of hard labor. As Sarah pieced together the puzzle, a disturbing pattern emerged. She discovered that Maribel's visa had been approved thanks to a letter from Elon's father, Elon Musk. The letter, written on official company letterhead, contained a veiled threat, warning that if Maribel did not leave South Africa immediately, there would be serious consequences. Sarah presented her findings to Elon, her voice grave. "Mr. Musk, I believe your father forced Maribel Vega to leave the country." Elon stared at the letter, his mind reeling. He remembered his father's controlling nature, his ruthless ambition. Could he really be capable of such cruelty? The thought was sickening. He knew he had to confront his past, to uncover the truth about what had happened to Maribel. He called his mother, May Musk, his voice tight with anger and determination. "I need to talk to you about Maribel." Elon arrived at his mother's house, his heart pounding with a mixture of anger and dread. May Musk greeted him with a wary expression, sensing the storm brewing beneath his calm exterior. He wasted no time, laying out the evidence he had gathered about Maribel's forced departure from South Africa. May initially refused to answer, her voice trembling. But Elon pressed her, demanding the truth. He knew that his mother held the key to unlocking the secrets of his past. Finally, after much hesitation, May broke down, tears streaming down her face. She admitted that Errol had been abusive, both physically and emotionally, throughout Elon's childhood. Maribel had been his refuge, his protector, a source of unconditional love in a home filled with tension and fear. "Maribel was the only one who stood up to your father," May sobbed. "She wouldn't let him hurt you. He hated that." Elon felt a surge of anger, directed at his father and at himself for not realizing the truth sooner. "What exactly did he do to force her to leave?" he demanded. May hesitated, her voice barely a whisper. "It wasn't just his fault, Ellie, it was because of you." Elon recoiled, as if struck by a physical blow. "What do you mean?" "Your father saw Maribel as a threat," May explained. "He believed she was turning you against him, that she was poisoning your mind. He threatened to take you away from her, to send you to boarding school in another country. Maribel knew that the only way to protect you was to leave." Elon felt a crushing weight of guilt. He had always admired Maribel, but he never realized the extent of her sacrifice. He had been the reason she had been forced to abandon her life, to endure years of hardship and loneliness. The realization was devastating. Did he hurt her? Did he threaten her physically? Elon asked, his voice tight with rage. May shook her head. "No, not physically. But he threatened to destroy her reputation, to make sure she could never work again. He knew how much she valued her independence, her ability to provide for herself. That's what scared her the most." Elon was silent for a long moment, absorbing the weight of his mother's words. He realized that he had been living a lie, blinded by his own success and ambition. He had to make things right, to honor Maribel's sacrifice and to atone for his father's sins. The weight of the truth settled heavily on Elon's shoulders. He felt a profound sense of responsibility, a burning desire to make amends for the injustices that Maribel had suffered. He sought her out after her grueling shift at the cafe, his heart filled with a mix of remorse and determination. "Maribel," he began, his voice thick with emotion, "I know what my father did. I know why you left." Maribel looked at him, her eyes filled with a mixture of sadness and understanding. "It was a long time ago, Ellie. It doesn't matter anymore." "It matters to me," Elon insisted. "I want to help you. I want to make up for what happened." He offered her financial assistance, a comfortable retirement, anything she desired. But Maribel refused. "I've lived my life without needing anyone's help," she said, her voice firm. "I don't need your money." Elon was taken aback by her rejection. He had expected gratitude, or at least acceptance. But Maribel was a proud and independent woman, unwilling to accept charity, even from someone she loved. "But you helped me, Maribel," Elon pleaded. You were there for me when no one else was. Now it's my turn to help you. Maribel softened, her eyes filled with warmth. You don't have to repay me, Ellie. Just be a good man, live a good life. Elon refused to give up. He knew he couldn't simply hand her money. He needed to find a way to honor her sacrifice, to create something that would benefit others like her. An idea sparked in his mind, a vision of a place where caregivers, nannies, and elderly companions could find support, resources, and a sense of community. I want to create a center for people like you, Maribel, he said, his voice filled with passion. A place where they can find training, healthcare, and legal assistance. A place where they can feel valued and respected. Maribel listened intently, her expression thoughtful. If you really want to do this, Ellie, she said, you must do it for all the people like me, not just for me. Elon nodded, his resolve strengthened. He would create something meaningful, something that would honor Maribel's legacy and provide a lifeline for those who dedicated their lives to caring for others. Elon plunged headfirst into the creation of guardian angels, fueled by a potent mix of guilt, gratitude, and a genuine desire to make a difference. He assembled a team of architects, social workers, healthcare professionals, and legal experts, determined to build a center that would provide comprehensive support for caregivers. He envisioned a place that offered affordable housing, job training, counseling services, and access to legal representation, all under one roof. But the path to realizing his vision was fraught with obstacles. Many investors were skeptical, questioning the financial viability of a nonprofit organization focused on an often overlooked segment of society. They saw it as a sentimental project, a personal indulgence that was unlikely to generate significant returns. Elon, I admire your passion, but this is not a sound investment, one investor told him bluntly. There are far more profitable opportunities out there. Why waste your time and money on something that won't benefit your bottom line? Elon bristled at the suggestion that his efforts were driven by mere sentimentality. He was determined to prove them wrong, to show that doing good could also be good for business. He doubled down on his efforts, pouring his own personal funds into the project. However, even with his vast wealth, the costs of building and operating guardian angels were substantial. He found himself facing a difficult choice: continue funding the project out of his own pocket, or seek additional investment, potentially compromising his vision. Against the advice of his financial advisors, Elon made a bold decision. He sold a significant portion of his Tesla stock, risking his own financial security to ensure the survival of guardian angels. The move drew criticism from the business community, with some questioning his sanity. But Elon remained steadfast, convinced that he was doing the right thing. Meanwhile, as the construction of guardian angels progressed, Elon approached Maribel with an offer to become its director. He envisioned her as the heart and soul of the organization, a guiding force who could inspire and empower others. Maribel, you are the reason this center exists, he said, his voice filled with sincerity. I need you to be its leader, to guide its mission, to ensure that it remains true to its purpose. But to Elon's surprise, Maribel refused. Ellie, I appreciate your offer, but I am not a leader, she said. I am a simple woman. I am not qualified to run an organization like this. Elon was frustrated. He couldn't understand why she was reluctant to take on a role that seemed perfectly suited to her. But you are the heart of this project, he protested. I can't do this without you. Maribel smiled, her eyes filled with warmth. You don't need me, Ellie. You have the passion, the vision, and the resources to make this happen. Just promise me that you will always remember why you started this, that you will always put the needs of others first. Elon reluctantly agreed, realizing that he couldn't force her to do anything she didn't want to do. He vowed to honor her wishes and to ensure that guardian angels would always be a reflection of her values. As Elon continued his work on guardian angels, he was haunted by the shadows of his past. The revelation about his father's treatment of Maribel had shaken him to his core, forcing him to reevaluate his relationship with his family and his own identity. One evening, after a long and grueling day at the construction site, Elon found himself drawn to his mother's house. He needed to understand the full extent of his father's actions, to uncover any other secrets that might be lurking in the shadows. He sat with May in her cozy living room, the air thick with unspoken tension. He began to ask her about his childhood, about the early years of their family. As they talked, a disturbing pattern emerged. Elon realized that Errol had never truly accepted him, that he had always treated him differently from his other children. "Your father was never very affectionate," May admitted, her voice tinged with regret. "He always seemed distant, preoccupied. He never really connected with you." Elon felt a pang of sadness, realizing that he had spent his entire life seeking the approval of a man who had never truly loved him. He began to wonder about his own origins, about the circumstances of his birth. "Mom, is there anything else I should know about my father?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. May hesitated, her eyes filled with a mixture of pain and apprehension. Finally, she took a deep breath and said, "There is something I should have told you a long time ago." She revealed a shocking truth: Elon Musk was not Elon's biological father. His biological father was a man named Joshua Haldeman, a scientist and pilot who had been involved with May before she married Errol. Joshua had died in a plane crash when Elon was just a baby. Elon was stunned, reeling from the revelation. He had always believed that Errol was his father, the man who had shaped his life, for better or worse. Now, he learned that his true parentage was a mystery, a hidden secret that had been kept from him for decades. "Why didn't you tell me?" he asked, his voice filled with disbelief. "Your father insisted," May explained. "He didn't want you to know. He wanted you to believe that he was your real father. I was afraid to disobey him." Elon was angry, hurt, and confused. He felt as if his entire world had been turned upside down. He had always prided himself on his logical thinking, his ability to solve complex problems. But now, he was confronted with a truth that defied logic, a truth that challenged his very identity. "Who am I?" he wondered aloud. "Am I a Musk? Am I a Haldeman? What does it all mean?" As the steel framework of guardian angels rose against the San Francisco skyline, a different kind of storm brewed. Elon, already battling investor skepticism and wrestling with the complexities of his own identity, found himself facing a new and terrifying threat: legal challenges that could derail the entire project. A powerful consortium of wealthy landowners and developers, fearful of the center's potential impact on property values in the area, launched a coordinated campaign to block its construction. They filed lawsuits, alleging zoning violations, environmental concerns, and a host of other frivolous claims designed to delay the project and bleed its resources dry. Elon's legal team fought back fiercely, but the lawsuits dragged on, costing him millions in legal fees and threatening to deplete his already strained resources. He found himself spending countless hours in courtrooms, battling against powerful forces that seemed determined to destroy his dream. The stress took its toll. Elon became withdrawn, his normally boundless energy replaced by a weary resignation. He slept little, ate poorly, and neglected his other businesses, his focus consumed by the desperate fight to save guardian angels. But the legal challenges were not the only crisis he faced. One afternoon, as Elon was poring over legal documents in his office, he received a frantic phone call from one of Maribel's neighbors. "Mr. Musk, it's Maribel. She's collapsed. We've called an ambulance." Elon's heart lurched. He dropped the phone and raced to the hospital, his mind reeling with fear. He arrived to find Maribel unconscious in the emergency room, surrounded by doctors and nurses. The doctors informed him that Maribel had suffered a severe stroke, likely brought on by exhaustion and stress. Her condition was critical, and it was unclear whether she would recover. Elon was devastated. He felt a surge of guilt, knowing that his relentless pursuit of guardian angels had inadvertently contributed to her collapse. He had been so focused on building the center that he had neglected the most important person in his life. He sat by Maribel's bedside, holding her hand, his eyes filled with tears. He whispered words of encouragement, pleading with her to fight for her life. He realized that guardian angels was meaningless without her, that her presence was the very essence of the project. Days turned into a blur of hospital visits, anxious phone calls, and sleepless nights. Elon refused to leave Maribel's side, neglecting his other businesses and responsibilities to be there for her. He sat beside her bed, reading to her, playing her favorite music, and talking to her about his hopes and dreams for guardian angels. He shared stories of his childhood, of the times when she had protected him from his father's anger, of the lessons she had taught him about kindness, compassion, and the importance of helping others. As he spoke, he noticed a faint flicker of movement in Maribel's hand. Her eyes fluttered open, and she gazed at him with a weak but unmistakable look of recognition. "Ellie," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "I'm here, Maribel," Elon said, his voice choked with emotion. "I'm here for you." Maribel squeezed his hand, a faint smile playing on her lips. "You're going to be all right, Ellie," she whispered. "You're going to do great things." Her words filled Elon with a renewed sense of hope. He realized that Maribel's spirit was still strong, that she still believed in him, even in the face of adversity. He began to think about the lessons he had learned from her, about the importance of resilience, perseverance, and the power of human connection. He realized that Guardian Angels was not just about building a center, it was about building a community, a network of support for those who needed it most. One day, as he was sitting by her bedside, Elon made a bold decision. He turned to Maribel and said, "Maribel, I need your help. I can't do this without you." Maribel looked at him, her eyes filled with surprise. "But Ellie, I'm not well enough to lead an organization. I'm too weak." "I don't need you to lead," Elon said. "I need you to inspire. I need you to be the heart and soul of Guardian Angels. I want you to be its honorary director." Maribel hesitated, her eyes searching his. "Are you sure, Ellie? Are you sure you want me?" "I've never been more sure of anything in my life," Elon replied, his voice filled with conviction. "You are the reason I'm doing this. You are the only person who can truly understand the needs of the people we're trying to help." Maribel smiled, her eyes filled with warmth. "All right, Ellie," she said. "I'll do it. I'll be your honorary director." With Maribel's support, Elon found renewed strength and determination. He rallied his legal team, re-energized his investors, and rededicated himself to the mission of Guardian Angels. He realized that the center was not just a building, it was a testament to Maribel's legacy, a symbol of hope for those who had dedicated their lives to caring for others. Months later, under a cerulean sky punctuated by wisps of cirrus clouds, the grand opening of Guardian Angels arrived. The event was a symphony of emotions, a poignant blend of jubilation and sorrow. A sea of faces, a kaleidoscope of backgrounds and experiences, filled the plaza outside the newly constructed center. Caregivers, nannies, elderly companions, and their families gathered, their eyes shining with anticipation. Elon stood at the podium, his heart swelling with gratitude and pride. He spoke of Maribel, his voice trembling with emotion. He recounted her life story, her sacrifices, and her unwavering belief in him. He described her as the inspiration behind Guardian Angels, the driving force behind its mission to provide support, resources, and a sense of community for those who dedicated their lives to caring for others. This center is a testament to Maribel's legacy, Elon declared, his voice echoing through the crowd. It is a symbol of hope for those who have often been overlooked and undervalued. It is a promise that we will never forget the importance of caring for one another. As he spoke, Elon looked at Maribel, who sat beside him in a wheelchair, her face radiant with pride. He knew that she was the true hero of the story, the one who had inspired him to make a difference in the world. After his speech, Elon and Maribel together cut the ceremonial ribbon, officially opening the doors of Guardian Angels. The crowd erupted in applause, their cheers echoing through the plaza. But amidst the celebrations, Elon couldn't shake a nagging sense of unease. He knew that the legal challenges were far from over, and that the powerful forces that had tried to block the project were still lurking in the shadows. He also knew that Maribel's health was fragile, and that her time was limited. As Guardian Angels flourished, becoming a beacon of hope and support for the caregiver community, Elon found his own life enriched in unexpected ways. He made a conscious effort to spend more time with his children, eager to instill in them the values of empathy, compassion, and a sense of social responsibility. He began bringing his children to Guardian Angels, allowing them to interact with the caregivers and the families they served. He wanted them to see firsthand the challenges and triumphs of those who dedicated their lives to caring for others. One afternoon, as Elon was helping his youngest son, XAEA-12, or simply X, build a block tower in the center's playroom, he noticed Maribel sitting nearby, surrounded by a group of children, her eyes twinkling with amusement. X, captivated by Maribel's presence, abandoned his block tower and toddled over to her, his tiny hand reaching out to grasp hers. Maribel smiled and pulled him onto her lap, her arms wrapping around him in a warm embrace. "Tell me a story, Maribel," X pleaded, his eyes wide with anticipation. Maribel chuckled and began to weave a tale of bravery, kindness, and the importance of helping those in need. As she spoke, Elon watched his son's face light up with wonder, his imagination soaring as he listened to her words. Later that evening, as Elon was tucking X into bed, his son turned to him and said, "Dad, I want to be like you when I grow up." Elon smiled, his heart swelling with pride. "What do you mean, son?" he asked. "I want to build a company like you did," X replied. "But I want to build it for the people, not just for the money." Elon was deeply moved by his son's words. He realized that Maribel's influence was already taking root in the next generation, inspiring them to use their talents and resources to make a positive impact on the world. As his children grew older, they became actively involved in Guardian Angels, volunteering their time and skills to help the caregivers and their families. They organized fundraising events, tutored children, and provided companionship to the elderly residents of the center. Elon watched with pride as his children embraced the values he had tried to instill in them, realizing that Maribel's legacy would continue to live on through them, inspiring future generations to embrace empathy, compassion, and a commitment to social justice. In the twilight years of Maribel's life, her health continued to decline. She spent most of her time at Guardian Angels, surrounded by the caregivers and families she had inspired. Her presence was a constant source of comfort and strength, a reminder of the center's mission and its unwavering commitment to serving the needs of others. One afternoon, as Elon was visiting Maribel in her room, she motioned for him to come closer. Her voice was weak, but her eyes were filled with warmth. "Ellie," she whispered, "I have something to give you." She reached into a drawer beside her bed and pulled out a faded, tattered piece of paper. It was a drawing, crudely rendered in crayon, depicting a rocket soaring through the sky. Elon recognized the drawing instantly. It was one he had made as a child, a testament to his earliest dreams of space exploration. He had completely forgotten about it, but Maribel had treasured it all these years. "I always knew you would do great things, Ellie," Maribel said, her voice barely audible. "I always believed in you." Elon was deeply moved by her words. He took the drawing and held it close to his heart, tears welling up in his eyes. He realized that Maribel had always been his greatest supporter, his most unwavering believer. As he held the drawing, he remembered the long hours he had spent poring over science fiction novels, dreaming of rockets and spaceships. He remembered the countless times when Maribel had encouraged him to pursue his passions, to never give up on his dreams. He realized that Maribel had not only been his caregiver, but also his mentor, his confidant, and his inspiration. She had instilled in him the values of curiosity, creativity, and a relentless pursuit of knowledge. She had taught him that anything was possible, if you were willing to work hard enough and never give up on your dreams. The drawing became a symbol of Maribel's enduring legacy, a reminder of her unwavering belief in him and his ability to make a difference in the world. In the final days of her life, Maribel was surrounded by her loved ones, including Elon and his children. She passed away peacefully in her sleep, her face serene, her heart filled with love. Her funeral was a celebration of her life, a testament to her enduring legacy. Caregivers, families, friends, and colleagues gathered to pay their respects, their hearts filled with gratitude for her unwavering kindness, compassion, and dedication to serving others. Elon delivered a moving eulogy, recounting Maribel's life story and highlighting her profound impact on his own life and the lives of countless others. He spoke of her unwavering kindness, her boundless compassion, and her fierce dedication to serving those in need. He emphasized that Guardian Angels was not just a building, but a testament to her legacy, a symbol of hope for those who had dedicated their lives to caring for others. "Maribel taught me the importance of empathy, of understanding the struggles of those around us," Elon said, his voice thick with emotion. "She taught me that true success is not measured by wealth or power, but by the positive impact we have on the lives of others." He vowed to continue her work, to ensure that Guardian Angels would continue to serve as a beacon of hope for generations to come. He pledged to uphold her values, to champion the cause of caregivers, and to promote a world where everyone is treated with dignity and respect. In the years that followed, Elon remained deeply involved in Guardian Angels, overseeing its expansion and ensuring its continued success. He also continued to pursue his other passions, pushing the boundaries of technology and striving to make the world a better place. He never forgot Maribel's unwavering belief in him, her enduring legacy of kindness and compassion. He carried the drawing she had given him, the faded crayon rocket, as a constant reminder of her influence and the importance of pursuing his dreams. One day, as Elon stood before Maribel's grave, a simple stone marker overlooking the sprawling city of San Francisco. He held the drawing in his hand, his eyes gazing up at the vast expanse of the sky. He had achieved so much in his life, had amassed wealth and power beyond his wildest dreams. But none of it would have been possible without Maribel's love, support, and unwavering belief in him. He looked down at the drawing, a bittersweet smile gracing his lips. He remembered the wide-eyed boy who had dreamed of rockets and spaceships, the boy who had been nurtured and inspired by a woman who saw something special in him. Taking a deep breath, Elon spoke to the silent grave, his voice filled with a mixture of gratitude and fulfillment. "I did it, Maribel," he whispered. "I built the rocket. I reached for the stars. I made you proud." He paused, his eyes filling with tears. "And I promise you, I will never stop reaching." As he stood there, bathed in the golden light of the setting sun, Elon realized that Maribel's legacy would live on, not only through guardian angels, but through his own actions, his own unwavering commitment to making the world a better place. He looked up at the sky once more, his heart filled with hope, his spirit soaring with the dreams of a boy who had been loved, nurtured, and inspired by a woman who believed that anything was possible. And as he gazed at the sky full of dreams, he knew that Maribel was still with him, her spirit guiding him, her love surrounding him, forever a part of his journey, a constant reminder of the power of kindness, compassion, and the enduring legacy of a guardian angel.